nothing prepared me for Vesper Hollow. It started with a message from an old colleague, Joel. "Found a place," the message read. "Not on any map. You need to see it. But if you go, don't stay after sunset."
You are listening to the Fearcast. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill.
My name is Brian. I'm 34. I live alone, work freelance, and spend most of my time chasing decay through a lens. For the last 7 years, I've photographed abandoned buildings, asylums with moss-filled corridors, forgotten churches with broken pews, homes where time seems paused. There's something about those places that feels honest, like the quiet is telling you secrets nobody else hears. But nothing prepared me for Vesper Hollow. It started with a message from an old colleague, Joel, another photographer I hadn't spoken to in years. "Found a place," the message read. "Not on any map. You need to see it. But if you go, don't stay after sunset." That was it. No follow-up, no explanation. Just a dropped GPS pin in the woods north of Pine Ridge. Naturally, I was intrigued. I followed wider leads. The next morning, I packed my gear, filled the tank, and drove up into the backcountry. The roads narrowed quickly, first from highway to gravel, then to dirt, then to nothing but tire tracks and overgrowth. After a while, I lost reception. I kept checking the pin. Finally, after nearly 5 hours, I reached a clearing marked only by a half-buried stone plaque. Weathered letters read, "Vesper Hollow, Esteer 2003. No houses, no gates, just that ominous sign and the forest pressing in around it. I left the car and walked in. After about 20 minutes of pushing through thick undergrowth, I found it. Rows of massive homes hidden deep in the woods, McMansion-style houses, all eerily identical. The glass was intact in some windows, others were boarded. Ivy had claimed most of the facades, but not enough to hide the sheer size of the place. There were no sounds, no birds, no breeze. Even my own footsteps felt muffled. It was like the air was holding its breath. The first house I entered was still fully furnished, dusty furniture, blank picture frames, dishes on the table. It looked like the occupants had stepped out for groceries and never returned. That unsettled me. I wandered upstairs and found a bedroom with drawings on the walls, childlike scribbles of stick figures with wide, toothy smiles, and red X's over their eyes. One wall had a message etched in, "They smile so you'll stay." I turned around and froze. There was a mirror across the room, and my reflection wasn't right. It wasn't copying me. I raised my hand. It smiled. I backed away and stumbled into the hallway. That's when I heard footsteps upstairs, slow, heavy, deliberate. But this house didn't have a third floor. I bolted. Out the front door, into the fog. The houses looked newer now. Windows were clean, lights on in some of them. And in the top window of a house down the road, someone or something was watching me. Not moving, just There. I blinked and the figure vanished. Still, I didn't leave. My curiosity was stronger than my fear. I entered another house, one at the far end of the row. The door creaked open by itself. Inside was a nursery, old, dust-covered toys, a black wooden crib, and above it, a mobile that spun without wind. Most chilling of all was a VHS camcorder on a tripod, pointed directly at the crib. The red recording light blinked. I stepped back slowly. Then the door slammed shut behind me. I grabbed the knob. Locked. I checked the windows, sealed. Then the mobile stopped spinning. Silence stretched too long. That's when the camcorder clicked tape rewinding by itself. The screen flickered to life. Static. Then a child's voice whispered from the room itself, not the tape.
You weren't supposed to see this.
I spun around. Empty crib, empty room. I turned to the mirror on the dresser. My reflection was smiling. I wasn't. The walls began to hum, almost like whispering beneath plaster. The air turned thick and hot. I felt like I was being watched from inside my own skin. Then everything went black. When I came to, I was lying in the weeds outside. My clothes were damp with morning dew. But my watch said it was still the same day. The sun hadn't set. But I knew I'd lost time. I stood up and looked back. The house was gone. Just trees, no path, no porch. As if it had never existed. I stumbled back to the car. My gear was untouched, but every photo I had taken that day was gone, deleted. My camera's internal clock had reset itself to 1903. On the drive home, my GPS rerouted 3 times, all attempts to send me back toward the hollow. I shut it off and drove in silence. That night I tried to sleep, but couldn't. At 2:11 a.m., I heard knocking on my window. I live on the 3rd floor. I didn't move. The knocking came again. Then a whisper, barely audible, inside the room. You looked too long. The next morning, I got another message from Joel. A single video attachment. I almost didn't open it, but I did. It was Joe filming inside another Vesper Hollow house. The walls had changed. They were covered in framed photos. Dozens, hundreds, all showing people standing in front of houses. But their faces had been smudged out. Joel's voice was shaking. I think the town. I think it's building itself. Feeding off memory, replacing people, growing. He moves toward a mirror, and as he pans the camera, my reflection is there, not his, mine, smiling. I dropped my phone. The window knocked again. My bathroom mirror had fogged over without steam, written across it in dripping condensation, one of us now. Since then, things haven't been right. My reflections linger too long. My photos glitch even when I shoot something completely unrelated. And sometimes, when I wake up in the middle of the night, I find dirt on the floor. Tracks. As if someone has been standing by my bed. I've moved 4 times, it doesn't matter. Every mirror I see eventually shows the nursery, the mobile, the crib, and something standing behind me. Always just out of focus. I stopped photographing anything, even my phone's camera useless. I tried smashing every mirror in my home, but the reflections still show up on glass, on water, on screens that are turned off. The worst part? People around me are changing. Friends forget conversations we had. Strangers wave at me like they've known me for years. And every now and then I swear I hear Joel's voice in other people's mouths, mid-sentence, like something is trying to finish his story through them. 3 nights ago, I woke up to find a stone plaque placed outside my apartment door. It was identical to the one from the forest. Vesper Hollow, Est, 2003. Population 2. I haven't slept since. I can't, because last night I caught my own reflection watching me before I looked in the mirror. It turned away as I turned toward it. Vesper Hollow isn't a place. It's a parasite, a self-replicating memory. Once you've seen it, it attaches to you through photographs, through dreams, through stories like this. It builds itself in your mind, in your past. It moves the furniture, alters your memories. It waits, and eventually, you stop noticing what's real. You stop noticing when your reflection starts smiling on its own. Yesterday, I found an old photo album I didn't recognize. It was lying beneath a loose floorboard in the attic. No dust, no wear, as if someone had placed it there only moments before I arrived. But it wasn't mine. Still, every page showed me. There I was, posing in front of the withered oak tree beside the house at Vesper Hollow. Another shot, me, by the rusted swing that's long been broken. Then again, standing at the top of the hill, where the wind never stops howling. I don't remember ever visiting that place, but in the final photograph, one that hadn't been there when I first opened the album, I stand in the dark outside the old nursery window. Behind me, a faint light glows, and pressed to the glass from inside, barely lit, is my face, smiling. But I'm already outside. I don't know how long I've been writing this. The clock on the wall hasn't moved, the light keeps flickering, and something I can't hear, is whispering just beyond the edge of sound. It might be my own thoughts turning against me, it might be something else. Maybe you're reading this in a place I've never been. Maybe I already told this story to someone else, and now it's found its way to you. Or maybe this story isn't mine anymore. Maybe it never was, because there's one thing I know now. Once you've seen it, once your eyes have brushed even for a moment against its truth, it begins. And now that you've read this, check your screens. Look closely at your reflection. Really look. Is it still you? Is it still only you?